Boy, have I been getting. Wow. Let me try that again. Boy, have I been waiting to get in front of this microphone. How do we like that call with Michael Smerconish on Wednesday night, everybody? Again, sorry for the lateness. I thought I figured out a new. You know what it is. When I cherish these live streams, and whenever I try to add something new, it's there's always a risk that something will go wrong. So for the past couple of streams, we've been at it. But anyways, good morning to all of my nuanced thinkers, and let's get rolling on the headlines for today. See, Robert, your comment of please hold, but I've been on the phone for hours. That's why we have Sean Nichols here. Sean Nichols is, I like to call him the troll in chief. And I just made that up, but he is my favorite troll. Robert, we have some catching up to do because Sean is like 1,000,000 to 1 in terms of the troll score. Good morning, though. I love every one of you on these streams. Thank you for being here. Let's rock and roll. Yeah, Sean, you crowned yourself. So let's do it. I saw a comment earlier. I saw, and yes, by the way, I got some emails and I got some comments. What is this? Like, why am I still wearing this? I'm 10 years out of college. Well, I love this sweatshirt, and they're my letters, so I wear them. So there's that. Here, see that? Oh, whoops, wrong arm. Fall 16. That's me. Okay, I saw a comment here earlier. Why and how is the ceasefire in Iran holding if the U.S. and Iran are still shooting at each other? If you look at the headlines and if you look at what Rubio and really a bunch of government officials on all sides are saying, they're saying that both parties are engaging in self-defense strikes or non-offensive kinetic moves. Both sides are being pretty careful and, how do I want to say it? I think they're bending over backwards to make sure that the ceasefire holds. It's unquestionable that Iran has suffered big. Depleted military stock, eviscerated navy, eviscerated leadership, literally on that one. And they don't want to endure this for much more. The Americans, I would say, suffered too at the expense of $60 billion. That's the first thing. The second thing, 13 American lives. I should have reversed those. And the third thing, American support. I mean, by the citizenry ourselves, by no means have we backed this. That's not our fault, but in large part, we didn't back this war effort. Both are bending over backwards to make sure that this peace holds. That I'm certain about. I want to... Let's have this open for you guys. Perfect. And wow, you guys are really off to the comments today. Jamal, a 16 fall is a bad thing. Ha 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 ha. The apostrophes before the 16. And by the way, that gets me thinking about the stream the other night. On the Smerconish Zoom call that we were, I guess most of us were on. Wisco Hawk, good morning. I remember, still a new name. And hello, Valerie, as well. On that call, somebody was saying that only middle-aged white males were being selected to speak to Michael. Well, I like to think of myself as not middle-aged, and I don't really think of myself as a white male. So, to those people who are trying to say that everybody was racist on that call or something like that. Anyways, moving on. This is an interesting point, and it'll actually bake into something. Last night, I subscribed to The Economist. I absolutely love the publication. I absolutely don't love paying top dollar for it. So if anyone knows me, they know that I'm super into deals. Like I explained to you guys in the past, I got a $50 coupon through American Express, and I got a Rakuten offer of $3, and I got a targeted offer of 50% off the regular rate. So I got a full year of digital and print Economist subscription for, ready for it? $152. $152 for a year of The Economist, including print. I said at $3 a week, I'm not giving that up. I'm gonna get my Economist. I wake up this morning to an Economist notification. Labor has suffered losses in local elections, and boom, here we go. The AP is reporting. Starmer says he won't quit after local elections deliver losses for Labor and wins for the Reform UK. I hope this is not a indication. So now you see, this is where me not being a news guy full time kicks in. Starmer. So is Reform more left wing than Labor, or is Reform more than right wing? Oh, I'm scrolling down. I'm seeing Nigel Farage. Yeah, so Nigel Farage is more right wing. There we go. Okay, see, I'm somewhat of a news nerd. Is Reform is making headways? Wow, I really thought Farage was gonna sort of like dissolve and not really matter beyond Brexit. Why would Starmer resign if the Labour Party took losses? I get that that's usually the culture and how it goes in England, but I mean, maybe I'm thinking more of the Israeli model. You'd only resign if your coalition actually votes in no confidence. Let's see. The results reflect fragmentation. Reform UK running on anti-establishment, anti-immigration message, also eyeing breakthroughs in Scotland and Wales through pro-independence nationalists, the Scottish National Party, and the Plaid Cymru, CYMRU, are more likely to form governments in Edinburgh and Cardiff. Losing control of Wales will be a huge blow for Labour. Oh, and the Conservative Party has some woman who's really been making headlines lately. Kemi Badenoch. She's been making at least headlines in social media for sure. She's making wavelengths. Yeah, Ham White. Charles, they usually resign when they no longer have a majority or control in Parliament. Did he lose majority or control? I'm not seeing that here. That's what I said. I'm more used to that kind of model. And oh, by the way, Ham, I adjusted my volume control on the mic, so let me know if you hear me a little differently. If not, I'm gonna play around. I'm gonna play around some settings at the end. You let me know how I'm coming through. You'll see that the mic is back on the stand today. Yeah. So think about this. Go back to 2016 when Brexit happened. Was it indicative of where the U.S. is going to go? I don't think so. Or I don't think it was necessarily indicative of Trump's election. Was there some crossover? Perhaps, but I'm not seeing some trend happening here. More of a right wing swing. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that at all. Because if anything, we know the midterms are coming up, and the Democrats are going to absolutely quash the Republicans. It's just a matter of how much of a quash it is. So there's that point. There's that point I wanted to hit on. All right, more in the U.S. Oh my God, you guys knew I was going to hit on this. Tennessee is really doing it. They're really going to redistrict themselves. Horrible. And then what? We already redistricted California, and then what? Illinois is going to redistrict now, and then what? And then Alabama's going to redistrict, and then Connecticut is going to redistrict. I mean, what in the world are we doing? Wisco Hawk is commenting 2032 maps will be significantly changed due to the census numbers. As if that matters, Wisco Hawk. As if that matters. Apparently not. Apparently it's just whoever has majority control of whatever state legislature they want to have control of, and they just redistrict to their advantage. Screw the populace. Screw whoever the constituents. Because I forget which speaker they had on Smerconish was saying they're not just redistricting federal representatives and legislators. They're redistricting local city council people. Since when do the elected officials get to select their voters, not the other way around? This is crazy. And I think, practically speaking, the only thing that could come to save us is the Supreme Court. I don't think that Americans will mobilize to say enough is enough. I'm going to civically engage and overthrow this practice. This practice is toxic, is anti-democratic, is anti-Republican, is anti-American. They just don't learn. And the politicians are going to keep on pushing that line until something tells them to stop, because right now they're not telling them to stop. Jeez. I got fired up on that one, huh? This is horrible. Next. New York Times is reporting, back to Iran, Trump reversed the Hormuz plan after the Saudis denied airspace access. That's a big turn of events right there. The Saudis were pushing the Americans to keep pounding Iran. Now, the Saudis turned around and told Trump, you're not allowed to use our airspace. The Saudis, who've been cozying up to China over the past couple of weeks, who have been extending an olive branch to Iran, now told Trump, you're not allowed to use their airspace. Talk about a turn of events, and losing our Saudi allies in the space. We probably just showed them that we're not there for them. And I don't know if that's a good thing. I'd like Saudi to be in the American camp rather than the Chinese and the Iranian. Saudi has a bunch of problems of their own. I'm with you. Yeah, there's that. Saudi Arabia and Kuwait lift restrictions on the U.S. military access to bases and airspaces, the Wall Street Journal says. Well, Reuters reported that the Wall Street Journal said that 18 hours ago. Trump reversed Hormuz plan after the Saudis denied airspace access happened 12 hours ago. This is really the fallout of what's happening across all of our allies, I would say. I was talking to Reese a couple yesterday, and we were talking about the presence of U.S. military bases in Europe, and the overall sentiment of what the Europeans feel about us. Nancy, Trump should not have poked a sleeping bear. Nancy, nobody was a sleeping bear. Nobody was sleeping bear. Let me make one thing clear. The U.S. dominated Iran. No question. That's not. It's a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. Kinetically speaking, fact. No disputing that. What there is disputing is the effectiveness and the rhetorical battle. That's what there's questioning of. Yeah, so 20 hours ago, there's reporting that Saudis and Kuwait suspend the U.S. base access over Hormuz action. Israel raises Palestinian vineyards for settler roads. Midterm updates. This interestingly translates over into what in the world is happening in Israel domestically. Is the Israeli right, let's say, being more flagrant because they know less media and less attention is devoted to domestic politics in Israel? Or I know Israel took out one of the newest head of Hezbollah. I just stopped counting after they killed the first 17 of them. Meanwhile, there's supposed to be a ceasefire going on in Lebanon. So that happened. Let's see what else we have going on in the world today. All right, and of course, in Israel, you have domestic elections heating up for October-ish. If the coalition holds, there will be new elections in October for the first time since right before October 7th, 2023. So this is going to be an interesting one. Yair Lapid and Naftali Bennett formed the Unity Party. Let's see how that goes. Both of which are former prime ministers. Let's see if they can unite against something just besides for anti-Netanyahu. That's happening there. WHO, the World Health Organization, reports hantavirus outbreak on the Honduras cruise ship. What is the WHO saying? They are saying the hantaviruses are zoonotic viruses that naturally infect rodents and can occasionally spread to people. Here's what you need to know about the hantavirus. Did you know hantavirus are group zoo? Yeah, I just said that. Can cause severe disease in humans. All right, so WHO is just saying be careful. All right, I got that point. Now, what's happening with the cruise ship? Let's go into Forbes. Forbes is reporting the UK identifies new suspected cruise case. UK health authorities on Friday identified a new suspected case of hantavirus linked to the cruise ship outbreak. A British man currently in the remote South Atlantic island, Tristan da Cunha, while the World Health Organization said the KLM flight attendant in the hospital with symptoms on Thursday tested negative for the virus. I'm guessing some people made it off the ship. Health officials in California are monitoring an undisclosed member of the residents who were aboard the MV Honduras and have said that there is no information on that those being monitored ill or infected, according to the New York Times, which noted Arizona and Georgia health officials are also monitoring a total of 3 residents who are aboard the ship are all still in good health. So I guess these people disembarked and they're just keeping an eye on them. But man, do we have an antidote for this thing? Do we have a treatment? Do we have a vaccine? I mean, we're not going to go through this again as a society. It'll break us. It'll just break us. Thank you, Jamal. A bunch of people departed the ship before outbreak was detected. Ooh, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah, I mean, like, do we wait for people to have antibodies to this thing to allow people to disembark? All right. That's the hantavirus case. That's what's happening there. Ladies and gentlemen, question for you. I'm going to make a different sideline right now. You think this sunlight bouncing off me makes me seem any bit of like non-professional? I ran this by a video consultant yesterday, or I shouldn't say that, like a really, really, really expert YouTuber. I sent him my channel. And he said, yeah, your background needs some personalization. On that, I agree with, and that's a work in progress. But I should probably block out the sun here because I didn't get that until spring really. And given that I just started streaming January 1st ish of this year, yeah, I'll probably get a box or something to block this off. So there's that. Nancy Lawrence, I need a potted plant. Nancy Lawrence, this desk is so big, and the frame is so small. Like that means the potted plant would have to be like right here in front of me. So yeah. So there's that. Let's see what else. So for those of you who are anti the war on Iran, here's a headline for you. North Korea's new nuclear-capable warship poses fresh threat to South Korea, comma, U.S. Where can Iran be if they had nukes? There's an example. All you got to do is replace North Korea with Iran. And then where else can they threaten U.S. interests, you know? North Korea says it will deploy new artillery guns targeting Seoul. And North Korea's Kim Jong-un and daughter eat with crew on a new warship, Chohyun. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what these ships are, but you have NIK News reporting North Korea says it will deploy nuclear-armed warship in mid-June. Another headline, North Korea plans to deploy long-range howitzers. Seoul falls within range. By no means do I think Seoul is going to be attacked by nukes. I think that it'll just decimate North Korea for the same reason that Iran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. Or let me back up. For the same reason Russia can't use a nuke in Ukraine, I don't think North Korea will use a nuke. I think they'll hesitate less in using a nuke, especially if provoked. Especially if provoked. Wisco Hawk. If Iran had nukes, do you think we could blockade the strait? Absolutely not. If Iran had nukes, I don't think we can invade them. If Iran had nukes, I don't think we can oppose them. Not strongly, at least. Look at Ukraine. Look at Ukraine. If Iran got nukes, they could do whatever they want. Putin wasn't stopped. Putin's being given a hard time by the Western world, but he wasn't stopped. So apparently, the stock market is up, or has risen, as Trump says that the U.S., this is the Investor Business Daily, Dow Jones futures rise as Trump says the U.S. Iran ceasefire holds. And by the way, to you guys' point, I forgot who said it. Well, I said it earlier in the stream. Americans are bending over backwards by saying the ceasefire is holding, and then even though you guys made the observation, yeah, they're still shooting at each other, but it's almost the weekend, and the stock markets are about to close, and then maybe shit will hit the fan tonight at 4:00. Coincidentally. And I say that very, very sarcastically for those of you who didn't catch that drift. All right, ladies and gentlemen, time for comments, or overtime for comments. It's 28 past the hour. All righty. Robert Burke Show talking to Ham White. I wonder what happens to those who move only based on false narrative. Do they try to sue the companies that try to get people to move other areas based on politics? I'm assuming this has to do with the gerrymandering. Or self-sorting. I need more context there to respond. Let's see what else. Victor Perkins, I always love your salute to coffee and teacups. Love it. You finished the book called The Art of Spending Money by Morgan Housel with Nancy's thought in mind. Very nice. Wisco Hall, come 2032, when the new congressional maps come out with the census updates, will make it more difficult for Democrats to win. I responded to that earlier. That inflamed me. Let's go with Victor Perkins. I'll have to check out that book. It took some time to learn the wisdom of health and happiness. Jamal, we need open primaries, ranked choice voting, and neutral districts, although that gets more difficult as morons self-sort. So here's an idea that I just thought of while reading your comment. Do you need neutral districts? Do you need randomized districts? Or is that the same thing? Say you went with an objective grid. I guess that settles a quandary I've been having with Michael. When Michael Smirkano says you want AI to draw these districts for you, I guess it's also to use elements of randomness instead of just objective grids, because the grid would encompass people who are self-sorting like morons, as you said. But it wouldn't. But AI could randomize more things than the morons that self-sort. Right? That's what I'm thinking. I hope I'm making sense to somebody here. Ham White. Of course it is, but it's not right to own a high-value condo tax at undermarket by $227.5 million basis for real property tax. That is absurd. Ham White. If we're talking about the absurdity of property taxes, and I'm sure now peer-to-tier property taxes, your whole conversation is clicking with me right now. The New York governor, Kathy Hochul, seems to have met her legislators with an agreement on the state budget, which is a month and a half late for New York State. Now, the reason why I'm saying that and sort of national and federalized here is because there's a peer-to-tier tax system there. And particularly, you're talking about the trophy case of the peer-to-tier tax system. In New York City, at least, I don't know about state, but city, property tax appraisals or the tax rate on which we pay really, really, really fall behind the actual appraisals. If I were to go and sell my house, it'll be for much more money than I'm being taxed for on the appraised value. That has to do with a whole bunch of back and forth on how the property taxes are appraised and so on and so on. Ham White, if we're talking about the ridiculousness of property tax, can we talk about the ridiculousness of people who send to, let's say, private school and don't want to pay property taxes to go to the school? People who pay property taxes and send to private school should get a discount. People who pay taxes and don't get their tuition paid for by the state should get vouchers. All of that bakes into the property tax absurdity that I think goes on. If you want to give real market appraisals, so be it. Bring real market appraisals. But if we're going to bring consistency to the property taxes here in New York, I mean, it should happen all over the country. Property taxes are directly tied to the school district, which are directly tied to the way you educate your kids. And if the state's going to sponsor your children's education, should be universal. My take on things. Let me just scroll down to the very, very end here. Jamal responding to Wisco Hawk. The problem is that both fluctuate daily. Neither is on a steady course, and someone close to Trump are using insider knowledge to make huge sums of money on insider knowledge. Assuming you're talking about the Iran war and the news trickling out as the Trump administration wants to see fit. Like I said, news will probably break at 4 o'clock today when the stock market closes, and news will probably break right before 9:30 when it opens on Monday. Just used to it at this point. Ham White, I'm going to take the bait here. You're calling me absurd here, which there's nothing wrong with. Property tax in New York State has no relationship to private education, nor the voucher issue. Your argument is also absurd, wholly separate issues. Not in New York City, at least. In New York City, and I disclosed this much. In New York State, I didn't know. New York City, property taxes go to, and in fact, in Westchester County, I know it for sure ties into it. Your property tax is tied directly into your school taxes. The school tax is what funds the public schools of your district, of the district you're paying money for. So if you're looking for more accurate taxes in the appraisal of the properties, you should also go for more accurate taxes when it comes to utilization of the public school system. There's my consistency. Maybe absurd, but always down for a thoughtful argument. Thank you for opposing it. Oh, Nancy Lawrence, New Jersey. You have like realtors appraising that property. From what I see in the business world, there's such accurate values of market value. Yeah, you like if your house is valued at $750K, you're paying taxes on $750K. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you on Monday and maybe a Sunday. Let's see how family time goes. If I'm able to afford some time to give some commentary, I will. If not, enjoy your weekend, everybody. Thank you for the support. Please give me a thumbs up. And there was another thing that I wanted to run by you. Oh, mic check. So for those 12 of you who are still on here, check this out. I'm gonna put in some different modes. See, right now I'm on a broadcaster kind of thing. Let me know how this sounds. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Did I just boost in volume because I should have? Awaiting your comments here. Test 1 2 3. Testing new volume. New volumes. No change, Jamal. Tammy Moran sounds the same. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the soundboard here. Otherwise, I think I sound pretty good otherwise. Antique X-ray, deeper voice. You know how many people tell me I have such a deep voice? Anyways, guys, I'm late to work. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you soon. Thank you for all your support, and we'll be in touch. Thanks so much, guys.